When is the last time you felt genuinely present? Were you with a friend? Was a book in hand? Or were you looking out at a beautiful view? This video is about finding that moment of presence where we can slow down our days, replace the mindless scrolling, and return to that childlike wonder that we found in a book, in a place, and in a moment.
Good morning, friends. It is day one of my challenge to replace idle scrolling with reading. And this morning I have my focus lock on my phone. I use the application Opal and it is locked until 8 a.m. so I can't really use it other than to listen to music and things of that nature, receive text messages until about 8 a.m. But when we hit that point, that's usually when I'm done with my workout for the day. So that's gonna be the first test because that's when I'm gonna have to resist the urge to scroll and check on everybody's feed and everything. And I have brought my book with me so that way hopefully I can refrain. I will be using Opal a lot this week. So I'm gonna head on to the gym, hopefully get a good workout in, and then test number one comes at 8 a.m. Now back home from the gym. I got in a good little arm workout and made some breakfast. I have my chia seed pudding with lychee and mango, and then London Boy made me a nice little oat latte. And I've got my book here on the ready for if/when I start feeling like I'm about to get distracted. I am going to allow myself 5 minutes to check messages. I'm gonna set a timer, and then I will turn on Opal for an hour while I get work done, because the morning when I'm doing admin is when I tend to get the most distracted because I'm looking through email and honestly just trying to avoid my work. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give myself 5 minutes. We're setting a 5-minute timer. 5 minutes. There we go. Do a quick check, just make sure. Oh my goodness, I have 20 messages. This is why I get so distracted, because I get tons of messages on Instagram every day. It's so much. I'm learning more about her based on what she's reading.
She used to do a reading podcast.
Really? Oh, that's my 5-minute timer. I haven't even gotten through all of them. Now it's time to do the Opal hour lock. Now all my apps are locked. Time to respond to emails. It is now 12:30. I have gotten so much work done, but I am exhausted. This is the point in the day when I would be scrolling, that I'd be looking for some distraction. I am just a little burnt, a little tired. I've been working all morning and I just want a brain break. So while I normally would be just scrolling on my phone, zoning out, I'm gonna go ahead into the living room. I'm gonna grab myself a little bit of food. I'm gonna bring my book. I'm gonna try to just chill out for a little while, and then I'll come back to it when I feel recharged. It is currently 9 o'clock. and I'm already in bed. I don't know what it is, but I feel so tired, and I ended up actually going to sleep last night at like 9:15. But in all fairness, I have been waking up really early. I have a 5:45 a.m. wake up call tomorrow, so that way I can get to the gym for a 7 a.m. workout class, and it has been really good. However, for some reason, I'm just really tired today, and I normally would get a little bit more work done at my computer, but I feel a little tired, so I finished my Chinese lesson, got a bunch of work done, got the stuff up for DBA, and YouTube video set for tomorrow, and it's been a good day. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit more reading and prepare for bed. I always have Opal Focus Lock on in the evening from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. So scrolling at night is not usually an issue. I will say I feel like I really missed out today. I did not post on Instagram or on TikTok, and so I'm going to have to figure out probably a 45-minute window at some point during these days for me to create content, because that is going to be a problem if I can't make videos. And the goal will be to just have it be that 30 or 45 minutes. I can probably get it done in 30 minutes or less if I have all the footage ready, but it's a bit of a process. But I hardly looked at my phone at all today, and Opal will tell us the truth on how much time I spent. I spent a total of 5 minutes on Instagram today. That's wild. It said that I was in a general flow state almost all day. So I'd say that's a win. Hello. But now I'm gonna read my book and prepare for bed. Good night. I sat down and immediately got cracking on work, and it is already almost 11 o'clock. I got through my email inbox and have not looked at my phone, but now I really need to get through messages and also figure out what it is that I'm going to use to create my reel for today. I said last night that I was kind of disappointed that I didn't post yesterday. It is something that I am trying to develop better habits around. So what I'm going to plan on doing is that I'm going to give myself a 15-minute window at the beginning of the day to respond to messages and to do a little bit of searching for sounds. And then I'm going to give myself a 30-minute block in the middle of the day to edit. And then that should be it. That's all I get for looking at social media, because the unfortunate thing about this challenge is it is part of my job, but I think there is a way to have a slightly healthier relationship with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and set a 15-minute timer. I'm gonna respond to messages and find a sound to create a reel, and then I'm gonna put it down and then focus on some database construction. And then later in the day, I will give myself a 30-minute window to create some content. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer. Here you have it. All right, let's get going. I did everything that I needed to do in under 10 minutes. I'm very proud of myself. And I'm putting the phone down and using Opal to lock the apps for a couple of hours. And I have an idea for a video that is going to require some footage from later today. So that's perfect. And I got the sound recorded, so we are all set. You go ahead and start the block session. And I'm gonna set it for 3 hours because I am leaving the house around 2:30. So here we go. Starting the block session. I can no longer enter any of my apps. I made a ton of progress on my databases, got so much work done. I also sent out some emails for some archive visits. So it was a super productive morning. And now I am walking to go meet Elizabeth and I'm reading a different book. So this is Message from an Unknown Chinese Mother. This is a book I picked up from Daunt because my great-grandmother was given to her aunt when she was a child in China. And I've always wanted to learn more about the history of the time period and the Cultural Revolution because both my great-grandparents survived it and they fled to Taiwan with my grandmother and her siblings. And so I'm really enjoying it. It's very sad, but I feel like I get to learn a little bit more about my grandmother and my great-grandmother's history. Fun fact, had I not gone and studied the Black Atlantic, I actually was thinking about studying Chinese history in the Cultural Revolution because of my family. So I am very interested to see how the rest of this book turns out. I just got started on it, but I'm gonna go meet Elizabeth. We're going to Cafe Kitsune, taking some photos and taking a little walk around Hyde Park. She's leaving in a few days, so I want to soak up my time with her. I am heading home from hanging out with Elizabeth. I had such a wonderful afternoon just getting to chat about life and just have a good quality girls' afternoon. And I also am very proud of myself because I had about 7 minutes left until my Opal lock set up on my phone. And I got that video edited and I posted it just in enough time before the lock went on. So I not only posted content today, but my total screen time on Instagram was under 20 minutes. So I'm very happy with myself. I'm gonna go home. It's getting late. I'm gonna take a shower and get ready for tomorrow and do a little bit more reading before I go to bed. Good morning, friends. It is the next day and I got up this morning, went to my workout class, was feeling really good, and then I sat down at my computer and I've just been so anxious. And I was looking through my email and there's just a bunch of things I need to get planned out, like archive visits and travel and taxes and just all this stuff that needs sorting out. And I was talking to Elizabeth about this yesterday when we were hanging out, but there's just a lot that's changed since I moved to London. I am reflecting and trying to figure out what the next steps kind of look like, because I know what the next steps for my research look like, and I know I'll be working on the dissertation for the next, 2 to 3 years. And I know I want to be in London. I love being near my partner. I love being near my friends here. However, I've been feeling so homesick. I really miss California and I really miss my sister. And at the moment, it sounds really silly because it's not like I did very much of it when I was back in New Haven, but I miss riding. For those of you that haven't watched my videos very much, or this is your first video that you're watching, I used to be a professional equestrian. I used to ride horses professionally. And when I was in Connecticut, I had a barn that I was riding at and I loved it. And it was close enough to the school that I could go once or twice a week. I have just been really missing the horses and have been having a little bit of what we call pony fever. So I was talking to Elizabeth about this yesterday, where I'm at the stage where when I quit riding, I had said that I would always want to come back to it and that I would always want to come back to compete someday. And I have been trying my best to find a place to ride out here, and I'm just feeling really discouraged because I haven't really found anywhere and it's just not looking super promising. Even though I wasn't riding that much when I was in the States, knowing that it was always a possibility and that there were barns nearby that I could go to always was very comforting. And so I don't know, this is just me ranting because I'm having a little bit of an emotional day. It's a little dreary outside. I am like really, really missing my family and just feeling a little lost, feeling a little unsure of what the future might hold. And I'm a planner, as you probably very well know. To be honest, I don't know what my 3 or 5 year plan looks like. I am fairly certain I don't want to stay in academia, or at least in traditional academia. I think that working in ed tech sounds like it might be the right direction, but there aren't as many opportunities in the UK as there are back in California or in New York, and I'm just feeling a little insecure today. But the reason I am talking about it is because today I'm feeling really insecure and I'm feeling really distractible. I really am struggling to focus. And these are the days where I would sit and I would just dwell and scroll on my phone. And I set my timer. I already posted my content for the day, so I am not allowed to use social media at all for the rest of the today. Today, I'm going to be focusing on reading. That is to say, noticing that when I'm feeling bad, that social media and my phone is my rather awful coping mechanism. And today, because I am replacing social media and scrolling with reading, I am just noticing the emotions a bit more. And that's where we're at. So that's my little update for the morning. I am going to get a little bit of work done. I'm getting ready so that way I can film a segment for a video. And then I'm actually going to head over to Greenwich with Moo, and we're going to meet up with Elizabeth again. I want to get Moo out of the house because she's been very hyper, and I think that's because of all the cooking that London Boy has been doing, and I just want to get her out into the park, let her run around a little bit. So that's my update. Thank you for listening to me rant. I actually do feel better after having just talked about it. So thank you all for listening, and I'm gonna go ahead and get ready, film this segment, and then head over to hang out with Elizabeth. We are now in Greenwich and Moo is very overwhelmed. There's a lot of people out. I think there's a graduation at the university. Moo is checking out the grass and seeing all the dogs nearby. I think we're gonna go to the park so that way she can get some exposure therapy because she is not very well acclimated to life in the UK where there are a lot of dogs. When we lived in New Haven, she came across another dog like maybe once every 3 days. So exposure therapy is needed, but she was very good. But she was very good on the tube. Just gonna enjoy a nice afternoon out.
6号，明天是8月6号。你明天去北京吗？
Look at that. I got 94% on my language lesson today. I got back from Greenwich about an hour ago and I have just been getting a little bit of work done at my desk. I was honestly feeling really sad and anxious. I'm really sad that Elizabeth is leaving and she's just my closest friend in the city at the moment and she splits her time between here and the States. And like I said this morning, I've just been feeling a little lost, a little confused about what's next. Today has been a real test of my ability to maintain this challenge because on days like today, I'm realizing that I use social media as a numbing agent. That when I am not feeling great, if I am feeling really sad or lonely, I turn to social media. And what I find is that when I end up scrolling, it actually just ends up making me feel worse. Whereas when I got home, I had the inclination to just scroll. I had the inclination to just watch YouTube videos and to just zone out. But what I did instead was that I got home, I did a little bit of reading out of A Court of Mist and Fury. I've made so much progress on it. I'm over halfway through. And I did my language lesson and I also updated my Notion with all of the upcoming brand deals and contracts and things that I need to keep track of with me and my manager. And suddenly the world seems like it's a better place and that I'm gonna be okay and that I'm gonna figure it out and I don't have to have the answers right now. So I've got to say, this challenge has really been testing me and I think it is requiring me to process emotions in a very different way than I'm used to, and I think it's a good thing. But I'm sitting here, I'm editing a YouTube video. I have so much work I need to do on it. I also need to do some work for the Digital Brand Accelerator, and then tomorrow and Friday are dissertation days. So I have 2 full days of focusing on the PhD research. I have the weekend off, and then all of next week is focused on going and doing research. I'll be in Oxford going to the archives there. So all of tomorrow needs to be spent doing database work as well as planning for that trip. And that also means that I need to front load a lot of the content editing and that kind of stuff to today and this weekend. So that way I
can just focus on the dissertation next week. So I made up a full template for content design for Accepted, so that way I can just bust it out in a couple of hours for the next several weeks, rather than trying to come up with designs always on the spot. And I'm really happy with how those are turning out. I put a couple of them on Planoly for the team. So it's been a good, productive afternoon, even if my emotional state has been a little haywire. London Boy should be home in about an hour, so I want to make sure that I get as much done as I can before then, because I would like to be able to hang out with him when he gets home. There is a Zoom app that allows us to do the timer. That might actually be easier than doing eCam.
I think that would be great, because eCams are a pain.
If we can figure out how to do it, I think this will be way better.
We have now made it to Friday. I did not record anything yesterday. I was at home working on editing videos. And today I have been reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and I'm about 100 pages to the end. And I need to talk to someone about this. I need to post in the Accepted Society book club forum because I have thoughts. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm honestly surprised that I'm enjoying it so much. I think the character development is just spot on. I'm not in love with Sarah J. Maas's writing, but the actual plot and the development of the characters, I would say, is very good. And I have some more books coming in today, so we'll have a little book haul. But I'm heading into town. I have an appointment to get my nails done and to meet up with one of the Accepted Society members that's currently in town and go to Spitalfields Market for lunch. So I'm gonna head into town and have a nice relaxing day, and then have a little bit more work to do this evening when I get home. But I'm excited to read on the tube. So it turns out my appointment was not today, it's tomorrow. But I got to meet up with Kelly, and that was really fun. But we had lunch and crumble in Spitalfields Market, and I came home and a little package arrived with some new books. Oh, dang it. I have a video where I want to try reading a variety of self-help related or self-improvement related books. And first I have How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy. This is one that Katie has been trying to get me to read for forever. So I picked it up. Katie, I took your recommendation, and I'm interested to see how this goes. Next, we've got Anatomy of a Breakthrough by Adam Alter. I heard his podcast episode with Stephen Bartlett and was very interested in this book. We've got 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. I absolutely adore him and his wife, so felt like I needed to pick that up. We've got Indistractable, How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Nir Ale with Julie Lee, which seems fitting for this video because the whole point of
switching social media for reading, is to be less distracted. And lastly, we've got the infamous Grit by Angela Duckworth. So we've got a nice stack of books for another video that I'll be filming. If you want to be around to check that out, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when I post. But what I'm more excited about at the moment is finishing this book. I'm gonna finish this. I got home and made sure that my YouTube video is ready to go. I am just gonna take the next hour or so and just fully immerse myself in this book. So that way I can continue on and read some of the other books that are currently sitting on my TBR. And that includes this one that I was telling you about the other day, and another that is actually sitting on my bedside table. So I'm gonna go into the living room, do a little bit of reading, and take you along with me. And then I'll get more work done later, but I need to finish this book. We've now come to the end of the video, and I just wanted to quickly sit down, touch base, talk a little bit about what it is that I learned by replacing social media with reading this week. And I have some thoughts that I don't think that many of you will expect. So when I've watched videos before where people, for example, do a social media detox, or they replace social media with something else, most of the feedback that I've seen is only positive. It's only saying that, wow, I felt so much more present. I felt so connected. I really feel like I waste so much time on social media. And all those things are true. However, in this week, I've also felt the most disconnected from my community. It might be a hot take, and this is probably because I've been on YouTube for so long, but I love social media. I love YouTube. I love creating videos. I love connecting with my community, and only having a couple of minutes at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day to just create and to just send messages back to the people that had messaged me. It actually made it feel more like a job. And while I love my work, I love creating content, I do it because it just feels like a hobby, and it really just feels fun. I missed just feeling inspired by the messages that I receive from you guys. I receive about 10 to 15 messages a day responding to stories or sending me things or shooting me a message. But with only being able to be on social media for a couple of minutes to respond to those messages, again, it just felt like I was responding to an email rather than just engaging with my community and my people. And I also just missed creating content when I felt like it. And so those are some of my thoughts, but I wanted to quickly talk about the books that I've been reading. We've got a stack. I am the type of reader that likes to filter through things. But the one book that I did finish this week is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah Maas. I was a skeptic. I was a big skeptic when it came to ACOTAR. I read it because of Katie and Chanel. They had created a PowerPoint to try to persuade me to read the first book in this series. And I read that first 2/3 of that book and just did not like it. But the last third was just so good and so engaging, and I really felt connected to the characters and wanted to keep on reading. I got through the last third of the first book so quickly, and I had a very similar experience with this book. There were some spoilers here and there that I saw on the internet. However, the twists and the turns in this book and the character development of Rysand and Farah and All of the different kind of supporting characters throughout were just so good. And I was telling my partner that I was reading this and was thinking to myself that I wasn't going to read the third book. I just wanted to get through this one because this is the one that everybody said that they really loved. And I got to the end and now I really need to read the third book. Sarah J. Maas, she hooked me. It's a good book. I do recommend it. It's a bit of a slog, but it has really taught me to enjoy reading again because I was glued to this. I was walking to the tube, to the gym, reading this as I was going. I met up with my friends at Spitalfields and I sat and read this until they arrived. I have just really been loving being enriched in a book and experiencing London by walking around with a book in my hand. I don't know what it is, but it just feels so wholesome. There's something about it that just feels really aesthetic. I don't know. I love the feeling of walking around London and sitting on the tube and reading a book, and I'm just really enjoying it. The second book is Message from an Unknown Chinese Mother by Shinren, and this book is a tough one. This one really hits home hard. I talked about it in the vlog, but this really connects to my own family's history and my grandmother and her relationship with her mother. We talk about intergenerational trauma and intergenerational memory when it comes to Black communities and the afterlives of slavery within Black studies, but I hadn't ever really understood it in any other context. And this book is one that I'm gonna take my time with, but I'm really enjoying for the sake of it makes me feel more connected to my family and to my grandmother more specifically. And then the last book that I've been reading is The Secret History. I'm not very far into this one. I just basically got introduced to the characters, but I know it's a classic, and you know, as someone who attends a New England university, the vibes are great. So I'm excited to keep reading this one and get a little further in and share my thoughts as I go on. But here are my kind of closing thoughts. On the one hand, I found that I was so much more present and connected to what I was reading and the things that I was doing. I felt so much less general anxiety throughout the week, and I really enjoyed the experience of immersing myself in the books. I also rediscovered my love of reading. I read hundreds of pages, and in the last year, I have started trying to read more fiction and trying to delve into reading that isn't just for my dissertation or for my research. And I have slowly rediscovered my love of reading that I had when I was a child. And I never realized how much I really miss the experience of just sitting and enjoying my book, especially on the go. As I said a minute ago, the feeling of going through London with a book in your hand is just unmatched. I love sitting on the couch with a blanket and my dog and a cup of tea and reading a book, but there is something about being on the tube, reading a book, just unaware of the passing of time, that just feels so special, and I can't quite pin my finger on why, but I have just really been loving it. I now keep a book in my bag, and I can't wait to dive into more because, as you've seen, I have a lot of books, and I will have more because I'm a book shopping addict. But I really enjoy making this video. I love doing these types of challenge videos where I try something for a week. So if you have any recommendations for types of videos that you'd like to see or things you'd like me to try for a week, then please go ahead and comment them down below. I would highly recommend this challenge to anybody, and I would love to know your thoughts. Go try it out, come back, comment, send me a DM on Instagram. Would just love to hear your thoughts, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you're notified next time I post, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everybody.